Grason, how are you doing? Oh shoot,
How are you,
it's turned around. Hang on 1 second, I don't know how this turned around. 1 sec. That's weird. Okay, hang on. All right, there I am. How are you, buddy?
Doing well, as good as I can be.
Yeah?
How are you doing?
You know, I'm hanging in there. I got outside the first time in, well, I've been in my backyard, but got outside for the first time in 14 days yesterday. Went surfing for a little bit, which was nice.
Oh, really?
But,
congratulations. That sounds ideal.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That'll
Keeping
be
a little
welcome occasion.
Yeah, definitely keeping social distancing in place, of course. But yeah, for everybody that's joining, just give it a little bit more time here. But the whole concept of the Thinking of Art series that I came up with here is to give people an opportunity to meet artists around the world because, you know, everybody's stuck at home, or most people are stuck at home, sadly, right now. And so, you know, I thought of reaching out to artists that I'm friends with and that I have connections with and are doing incredible work, and give you an opportunity to meet some of the artists that I know around the world. And one of the first people that I thought of for the series was Grason Ratowsky, who is on with us right now. So he's currently in Mallorca, Spain, and it's one of the hardest hit areas right now for this terrible situation that we're in. And Grason, I just wanted to talk to you about, you know, you guys, you and Lo, and you have a 1-year-old boy, Rothko, and see how you guys are holding up.
Yeah, thanks, Kipton, for inviting me to be a part of this conversation.
Of course.
You know, I think it's hard. It's intense right now, as I'm sure it is in many different countries around the world currently. I think there's a palatable sense of fear and anxiety in the streets that is apparent, especially, you know, that feeling is foreign in places like this, here in Spain and Italy, where the whole vibe usually is tranquilo and laid back and easygoing, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think this onrush of this fear and scarcity is really people scared, and it's hard to watch and see. So yeah, I want to start out just by saying my heart goes out in thoughts and prayers to everyone who's lost a loved one during these times, to this virus. That's the hardest thing, you know, we humans have to go through in life. So my heart goes out to you. And also I want to celebrate.
You there?
The workers and medical workers out there, because they're on the front lines and they're giving everything to save lives, and with little resources, it's hard. I know in Spain right now they're completely over capacity. They have very little resources, and they're just trying to get by, and so they're having to make some really tough decisions. So our appreciation goes out to them. I will say that I think here on the island there is a real sense of solidarity. You can feel the community. You know, people, although we're separated in isolation right now, you do get the sense that we're all working together, united towards, you know, to fight against this common enemy. Mm-hmm. And I see that more so here than, you know, apparently in other places around the world. For instance, we all go out at 8 p.m. and clap and sing the praises and, you know, and hoot and holler for the medical workers, and just seemingly insignificant gestures, I think, really do uphold and produce community morale. So that's been wonderful to see. Personally,
so you told me the other night, like, you were going out to the grocery store, and if you talk to everybody about that, like if you go out of your house, the police stop you, you have to prove that you've actually gone to the grocery store, right?
Yeah, I think the levels of, you know, lockdown are here much different than what you guys are experiencing. We are not allowed to leave for anything except extreme measures, which is to get water and food. Mm-hmm. when you do go out, you have to bring your shopping bags with you. If they catch you beforehand, you have to explain where you're going, show them your identification. If they stop you afterwards, you have to show receipts, again, your identification. And it's, you know, it's not martial law. It's not in a scary way, but it's definitely, you know, they're very strict with it, and they want you to stay at home, as we all should, you know, building this communal effort. I think, you know, personally, we have a young family here. We're separated from our loved ones there in the States. So I think I was onslaught initially with this fear and anxiety and the sense of loss of freedom, personal freedom. But then I think, you know, as humans, our sense of empathy is illuminated, and we have to realize that we have a responsibility as global citizens to work together and stand in solidarity and stay inside, and you know, so this spread can calm and not go to the more vulnerable, and so it hopefully gives some breathing room to these medical facilities and these workers who are way over capacity.
Yeah.
So I think if we continue to stand strong together in that way, that there is hope.
Yeah. So can you go to your art studio right now, or do you have to stay at your house?
No. Yeah, that's been a troubling thing for me. Yeah, there's no going to the art studio. There's no going outside. We can't even exercise outside. So really, we're confined to our house unless it's for food or water, and then you have to prove you're going out for those things if you go out.
Wow, it's incredible. What are they saying now for how much longer this is going to last for you guys?
We're in the end of week 2 now, and they extended it for another 2 weeks, so at least till April 11th now. And I'm almost positive they'll extend that for another month.
Okay. So what are you doing at home right now? What's your day like now? I mean, because you're used to going to the studio every day to paint. So are you able to do that at home? Do you set up a little studio at the house, or what?
Life's changed, a lot. The creative process has changed a lot. You know, before I could just run outside, grab a coffee, jump in my car, and get to the studio and create all day. So that process changed. But I think, you know, I'm trying to switch my mindset from problematic thinking towards solution thinking, and trying to look at how we can benefit from these instances. So I'm really enjoying my time with my family, spending as much time inside playing with my young son as possible, teaching his development of creativity, which is, you know, amazing to see, his eyes full of wonder. So little things like this, I think we have the luxury of time right now, and we've all been able to kind of take a breath. And although there's so much horror on one side of it, on the other side we have to continue and develop and proactive and productive and do look at the light that's in all this. And
for sure.
So I've been creating here. I still you know, I've been trying to paint on whatever I can conjure up and create inks, and you know, working with my other creative outlets that you know about, and you know, just trying to be productive, proactive, and positive, and continue on.
Yeah. So obviously, for those that don't know, I mean, we met a couple of years ago through mutual friend Donna in New York, and we're able to collaborate on a number of projects and sales. And you know, I fell in love with your work and love kind of the emotion that it brings me. So kind of talk about your process for those that are not familiar with your work and what inspires you.
Oh, yeah. Well, numerous different things. I think I'm an expressionist painter, rooted in neoexpressionism. So it's very emotional, heavy brushwork, and a lot of emotion and movement. To me, one of the, I'd say the most beneficial, magnificent things about art is the way it can transcend a viewer into an emotion, into a mental space. bringing up, evoking fragments of memories and experiences. And I think that changes based on the subjectivity of the viewer. So for me, looking into a piece, it creates a space and time where it can bring up different emotions, where I can feel nostalgic about an instance. It can bring back memories. For instance, this piece behind me, this is called...
Yeah, tell us about that. It's beautiful.
Rumbayar. Can you see it there?
Yeah.
It's a big piece, but it has these, very bright colors, happy colors, lots of movement in the strokes, and then figuratism of these dancing scenes and these shorthand faces that are out in this crowd.
Mm-hmm.
It's titled Rumbayar, which is kind of the Colombian slang based on rumba, the music, and dance style, but it basically means, loosely translated, to let's go out, let's go have fun, let's go dancing, let's communicate.
What we all need right now.
Exactly. So as I made this piece, some years back, when I look at it now, and again, this differs per viewer, but for me, it brings back this nostalgic feeling of those instances, those times when I was traveling and I was able to go out and meet and party and dance and experience life. Mm-hmm. And it also gives me hope for the future to do that same when this is all over, to experience that again. So to me, that's an invaluable quality that art has, to transcend someone's emotions and mentality into that space.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as I've been home for the last couple of weeks and not seeing anybody, I've been by myself and really going in deep with thinking about my life and purpose of my life and reevaluating a lot of things. I've had a new relationship with the art around my house. So yeah. I think with you, every time I've seen your work, it brings out a different emotion, because of the abstract nature of your work and the figures that you put in there. So do you have, it's obviously for me more of a subconscious interaction with your work.
Precisely.
Do you get a lot of feedback like that from collectors that buy your work?
Absolutely, yeah. You said it, yeah. To me, like, the essence of neoexpressionism, abstract expressionism, and expressionism painting is the release of the subconscious. So mm-hmm. It's basically attacking a surface and then sitting back and seeing what you've created and what your subconscious is telling you, what you are trying to emit, what are you showing from your past experiences and mm-hmm. Memories. And then you deduct and abstract from there to create these forms and figures and emotions that will put it into context for other viewers. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's about, showing the emotion of the scene rather than the direct comprehension of a scene. It's not so obvious and relevant. It's what's written in between. It's the writing on the wall.
So what's the process like for you? Do you just go in the studio and then just start painting randomly, or do you sketch it out first, or how do you start when you're creating a new piece?
Depends per project, as we work with commission pieces, interior designers, art dealers like yourself. We place in established places that have a kind of theme that they're already looking for that will be built in my style, but with some subject matter that they dictate. Mm-hmm. So depending on the project really depends on the process, but it always starts out with a wild admittance of strokes, movement, energy to whatever given surface that is, usually canvas in my case. Because to me, that's expelling the energy into the piece. That creates the movement. That creates the vibe that my personal style has. Mm-hmm. And then it's deducting from there. So if there is an intended subject matter based on the brief of the works, then I can incorporate that through deduction afterwards. Or like I was saying before, based on in an expressive manner, I will just deduct based on what I think my subconscious is trying to portray.
Right. Okay. Do you have a favorite piece that you're working on right now that you can talk about?
Yeah, well, I have a lot of pieces right now, and it's kind of harrowing because I just finished numerous commission pieces that I loved, and they're all stuck either at the framers or in different shipping locations around the world. So until this lockdown has been until it's lifted, these will be kind of stuck in the process. But yeah, I just recently worked on a series of 3 for some clients in San Francisco, and it was really cool because their idea was for 3 different friends, and the concept was they could all be interchangeable. So, you know, one friend could have one of the pieces up on his wall for 2 months, and then they would switch it out. So it'd be an always ever revolving piece of artwork. And that was a really cool concept that has me thinking of ways to do that in the future. Incorporating similarities in style and meaning and subject matter throughout the pieces, but make them so they're live and they're living pieces of art that can be interchangeable and translated throughout the spaces.
Right. I mean, the beauty of your work with everybody that I've presented it to, it's each person has a different interpretation or a different emotional connection to your work, which I think is really beautiful. How has this whole process, right, being locked in, for last couple of weeks, have you come up with new concepts? Have you reevaluated your practice? How has your business changed? I mean, talk to everybody about that.
Yeah, it's multifaceted, right? And I think this thing is moving so fast, and it's changing giant industries so quickly across industries.
No doubt.
Personally, from a creative standpoint, or from the art industry, I think when you can't, for me personally, because I can't go outside, there's no real external involvement. I literally can't go to the studio to create physical art right now. I think,
and even if you could, you couldn't ship it.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. I think that in those times when you can't have sufficient external output, that you have to go internal, and you have to reevaluate and reconnect with who you are internally, what you're trying to say, what you're trying to portray through art, to whom you're trying to portray that to, and for what reasons, I think. And so to me, I've been trying to develop that internal standpoint so as I can plan and be ready and produce that much more effectively the projects I have in mind when this thing is all over.
Yeah, I see a comment coming up there. Sonny, thank you for all your comments. We wanted to do a virtual tour of his studio, but he can't get into his studio right now. So once he is allowed into his studio, we'll do another Insta Live and make that happen. So talk about your family. Like, you have a new baby, you have Rothko, is a year old. Yeah. How's Lo doing? Like, how's she doing through all of this?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Yeah, Rothko just turned 1 last week, and to be honest, he doesn't know the difference. He's just, for him,
he's like more time with my parents.
Exactly.
It's
more
a good thing.
Time, more food time, more time with us. So for him, it's heaven, I think, right now. So we're all good there. I think, being parents of a young child and still trying to progress and work and be together and cook and clean and all the things that daily tasks take, especially in a young family without any support. We have no family or friends here. And even if we did, we couldn't see them anyhow at the current moment. So yeah, that's trying, obviously.
Sure.
But I think,
Has it made your marriage stronger?
Yes. I mean, I know the real.
You don't really have a choice. You can't run away. You have to make it work.
Exactly. I think all the expected answer is no, this is crazy. But, being in a long-term relationship, me and Lo have been together forever. For those of you who are watching it, know us. Yeah. And it's like, it's a relationship is a constant working. You're always working on it. It's a constant job, and you have to work to develop it and stay strong and stay connected and stay in love. So yeah, you're always doing that. So it's really no different for us. It's sweet. Pretty seamless.
That's sweet. Well, we want to see Rothko. Is he around there where you can see him?
Oh, I would love that, but he's being put to bed. He just took a bath.
It's late. It's late there. What time is it there now? It's 8 o'clock?
Yeah, well, we're 8 hours ahead of where you are Pacific time, so 7:30ish, 7:20
p.m.
Yeah.
So what else can we talk about that would be interesting for you? I mean, I think your day-to-day life, how many times a day are you going, or a week are you going outside right now?
None. Well, yeah, none. Lo hasn't left. Rothko hasn't left. I've been out once, and I took out the garbage and went to the grocery store. Grocery store was closed, so I had to, walk around a few blocks, found a little fruteria selling fruits and goods, so we got some fresh produce. But we stocked up pretty good beforehand. We didn't fear shop, but we stocked up because we knew we couldn't leave every day.
Well, I wanted to look at some questions here. One of the questions earlier was, what is your art like and the variety of your work? So if you go to the Kipton.com website, I put a new tab called Thinking of Art there, and you can actually read a little bit about Grason and see some of his pieces. So, Grason, of these pieces that we shared together, that we focused on together, 4 of them are in New York and 4 of them are in Mallorca. So of the ones that are in New York right now, which ones of those kind of speak to you the most? Is it Kodo? Is it Great Manipulator? Or
yeah, that's always a tough question because, again, it brings up different emotions in different pieces. And that is also based on the viewer. But I selected those pieces specifically for you because I love all of those very much. The Great Manipulator is a powerful piece about kind of our necessity to cut the strings from the puppeteer of our dictated emotions. So when through bad habits, through bad standards, through bad relationships, through all that negative output, sometimes you allow those elements to control your livelihood. And that piece is showing like that will handicap you. So you have to cut those strings and break out on your own. So that's a powerful piece for me.
I like that. That personally relates to. I can relate to that piece very well. So all of your work is large. I mean, you don't really do small pieces. So also, obviously people can't see it, but your studio is really, really massive and with high ceilings, and so you can create large works. But have you always created large works, or is that just a new thing for you?
No, I always have. Yeah, as you know, my father's also an artist, so I kind of grew up with him, going to his shows. We grew up all over the world, so we traveled a lot, and he always created large works, and he would always explain to me the importance to him of living within the piece. So you're literally, through the process, a part of the piece, and you can be inside of it, which is, it's a profound feeling. So I think, obviously that just trickled down to me, and I've always related to and work best in large format.
We have a question there from Jacob, who's in Bali right now. How long have you been creating art?
I've been, in art and design my whole life. I was having shows when I was in my teens. I've been a designer and running branding for over 15 years. And I've shown, throughout Latin America, New York, here, Europe, everywhere. So it's always been a part of me. That's what I live to do, is to create. And again, I grew up in a family that are artists, and so that's all I've ever really known.
It sounds like a word to me.
I'm looking. There's a lot of questions. A lot of people have joined in on this, and I really appreciate it. Talk about Lo, your wife, right now, and how you guys collaborate. You're an amazing team, and I've been working with you and different projects we've done in sales. It's beautiful to see your synergy of how you work together and collaborate. So, talk about how that came about. I mean, did you always work together, or was that something more recent, or?
How do you spell
Yeah, well, we met in New York quite a while ago, and we've been a lot of different places since then, and yeah, we work well together. She's the brains of the bunch, She is super organized, super efficient. She's been COO and consulted for logistical things for numerous large companies. So with my kind of large creative thinking, she can put it all into order and make it successful. So I think that's how our synergy best works.
Well, I love working with her, and please send her our best as well. That we're thinking of her too. If I was just scrolling through there, is there anything else that you want to talk about? You want to do a shout out? Obviously, if people want to see your work, they can go to your website. They can come to the Kipton site and they can read a little bit about you. If people are interested in purchasing work, contact me and I can help you with that. And of course, there's the work that's in Mallorca. We, not going to be able to ship anything out there, but the works that are in New York and other locations, we can figure that out. So
that's right. Yeah, we have some pieces there where you're at in LA now, and some work in New York. So we're happy to facilitate. I wanted to briefly touch on kind of the state of affairs in the creative world in general.
Sure.
And I want to implore artists who are going through a hard time right now. I know cross industry, everyone's kind of going through a hard time. I want to implore you to continue to make work, as much work as you can, not for the recognition or for to be seen, but to make the work. And I think, if history has anything to show us, it's that some of the best works of art, the best innovations, the best theories, from Picasso's Guernica to, Newton's discovery of gravity, have come out of times of crisis like we're in.
Absolutely.
So although people's focus might not be on looking at your art right now, it will have invaluable measure after this. And to hold a piece of history through art is one of the most important things that society holds throughout history, and in my opinion, at least. So I just want to implore
that's sweet of you to say that.
You working.
Yes, very, very true. I've reached out to a lot of artists through this, and they're, a lot of them are scared about being able to pay their rent in their studio spaces because they either can't get in their studio spaces or they don't know what the future is going to hold. But to that point, yes, I would also encourage any artist out there to continue creating and really just dive into your process more, and don't give up on that. So I want to keep these conversations going with this Thinking of Art series. And Grason, I really appreciate you taking time. And once you're able to get in your studio, let's do an Insta Live in your studio again to give everybody a tour.
Oh, I would love that. Studio. It's pretty amazing. So I would love to share that. And Kipton, it's always a pleasure. I thank you for inviting me to kick off this series that you've initiated, and look forward to speaking with you in the future.
Absolutely. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Thanks
for
everyone.
joining. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.